Good morning.
Good morning.
Slowly creeping up in numbers. If you've just entered, please do us a favor and enter in the chat where you're dialing in from this morning. Oh, we've got someone here from Abu Dhabi. We've got someone in from the United States. Welcome, Pennsylvania. Welcome, Abu Dhabi. Oh, wow. Good morning. From the Netherlands. Oh my God, you're gonna have to help me pronounce that. How do you say that?
Düsseldorf.
No, I know that one, the one above beginning with R. What does KSA stand for?
It's the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So
I see. There are more than 4 people in the room. That means we've got more than 4 different countries in the room. So can anyone else please let us know where they're dialing in from this morning?
morning from Bangkok and Hong Kong. So
Good morning.
it's afternoon over there. For
Hello
you.
from Australia. Whereabouts in Australia? I'm from Australia originally. Saudi Arabia. I did think it was that, but I didn't want to make any mistakes. And some from Jordan. How brilliant. Beijing. India. I see. Melbourne, Australia. Fantastic. Wow. Indonesia. Cambodia. Wow. Hello from America. Whereabouts in America you call it? Armenia, sorry. Amazing. And this is all in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, this is quite cool. It's the first time that we're doing a webinar about the Global Goals competition. But I think it's kind of the effects of the global pandemic. We've been using Zoom much more for a lot of things. So it's really cool to be able to connect with the schools and the teachers from different countries. We're probably going to wait another minute or two, and we're going to begin our presentation. So if you're just joining, please also add your country into the chat. Let us know where you're dialing in from.
And also let us know, is this your first time? Right, 1 in the chat if this is your first time joining us for the GSL competition. If this is your 2nd year, write 2. If this is your 3rd year, write 3. And if this is your 4th year, write 4. Amazing. This is fantastic. This is all your first year. Welcome. This is the 2nd year. Brilliant. This is actually our 4th year of running our global competition. So welcome to all of you. It's so fantastic to have you with us this morning. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and learn more about the competition. As Jakob said, we'll probably give you a couple more minutes. We didn't even introduce ourselves. Sorry, I'm Amy. I'm head of Global Social Leaders, and I'll let Jakob introduce himself.
And I'm Jakob. I'm the Global Outreach and Development Manager. I've been involved with Future Foundations. That's a company that we're going to be talking about a little bit more in a few moments since 2012. So a long time. Started as a facilitator, but now working more on the development of the global social leaders movement with Amy.
Yeah, we're veterans of Future Foundations. I think I started with Future Foundations back when I was 22 as a little tutor. I'll let you guess how old I am now. Well, Jakob, I think we'll probably, we've got a few more people entering the room, but I think as we're recording this, so if you have any colleagues that you want to share this video with, we will be releasing these videos at the end of the week. So you'll be able to distribute them with any other teachers within your school or any other schools or any other teacher networks you'd like to share this with. But as we don't want to keep you all morning because we know you're very busy people, we'll kick off if that's all right. So morning and welcome. It is 8:05 in England. I am in Bristol, and Jakob?
I'm in Poland actually, so a nice global mix again. So other 2 countries added to the long list that you guys provided.
Brilliant. So first of all, who we are. So you're probably wondering who Global Social Leaders are. So Global Social Leaders is a movement. that was born of two great minds, John Harper, who's the CEO of Future Foundations, and Katie Granville Chapman, who was the director of the Wellington Leadership and Coaching Institute. I'm not sure if you realize, but Wellington Leadership Institute are actually part of Wellington College. So Katie and John came together. They were very passionate about social action and about young people and the power of young people to bring about change. And they started out doing bids together, some sort of government contracts. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but we ran a program in the UK called the National Citizen Service. And they did that for a few years, and then they got approached by an international school in Singapore who asked for them to put on a leadership camp. And Katie and John said, yeah, of course we can, but why should we just work with one school when we could work with an international cohort? And from that conversation, the very first Global Social Leaders World Summit was born. So every year we have, I think it's for 12 years now, is it right, Jakob? We've been hosting the GSL World Summit, which is a 2-week residential leadership program at Wellington College. As Jakob mentioned, I think he's been on about 4 or 5 of those by now. So that was delivered face-to-face. After that was successfully running for about 6 or 7 years, we decided to scale and try and make a greater impact. So we designed a shorter program called the Catalyst program. So we have delivered our Catalyst program in Beijing, Tianjin, Shanghai, Mumbai, Delhi, Transylvania, Mozambique, Johannesburg. Help me out here, Jakob, is there anywhere else?
Also in Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi. So essentially it was a shorter program whereby our trainers used to travel. Back when we were allowed to travel around the world, we used to travel around the world and work with larger groups of young people to inspire them to design social action projects that bring about change in their school and their local community. In response to COVID, obviously, we were not able to do that. So we've now designed an online catalyst, which I'll let Jakob talk about in a moment. But our vision is a world led by a global movement of socially conscious leaders. This is why we do what we do. We want to make sure the world is going to be a better place for now and for all. So just very quickly, I'll run through the agenda and then I'm going to hand over to Jakob. So we won't keep you all morning. First of all, we're going to talk through the competition aims. We'll ensure that you understand the registration process. We'll take you through the timeline and the key dates. We're going to look at our past stats so you guys can see where you fit within our broader movement. We're also going to discuss how you guys can support your teams. And lastly, we're going to discuss some of the COVID-19 support and assistance. So I'm going to hand over to Jakob.
Thank you, Amy. So as mentioned, the aims for us for the competition is to develop the students' understanding of global citizenship and turn their ideas into reality. What it's really all about is tangible action of students. So we really want them to not only learn about the global goals, we want to put them into practice. We want them to improve the local community. One thing that's mentioned straight away around the projects, it's, there is projects are about getting to know the community, finding out the needs for the community, and preparing initiatives that can help to improve the quality of life, improve the local community. If there is an element of fundraising, many times we are asked about fundraising. Fundraising could be a part of the project, but it's not the project itself. So we are here about real action. So that's.
Can I just add, sorry, we're also a learning organization and we're about transformation in terms of our personal development and in terms of community development. So if a project doesn't meet its aim, that doesn't mean it's failed, because every single young person learns something by taking on a project in their life. And that's something we really, 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 really want to make clear, is that even if a young person doesn't complete their aim, we still want them to complete their final submission, because there is a journey there to be shared and told and learned from. So yeah.
Perfect. We're just going to take 2 minutes to show you a video that really shows you the competition in action from the students from last year. So enjoy.
don't know how many times I've seen that, but it still gives me goose pimples. So
Yes.
those are just some of the projects that entered last year, all of which are available on our projects library. So please do take a look at our website, our resources page. So I'm going to let Jakob talk to you now through the registration process.
Sure, thank you. And I think it's probably the first time I've seen this video since our GSL festival in June, and really, yeah, it's really powerful. I think it shows exactly what this competition is about, and hopefully you'll be able to share this video as well with your students, just to give them that inspiration to get started. Right, so from the inspiration to the logistics. Registration process is important. There has been a new addition this year, but most of you are first timers, so you can just take in this information as it comes. So let me just quickly show you our website. So the globalsocialleaders.com and GG competition. This is where you can get really most of your information, if not all of your information about the competition. So about the registration process very quickly. So there's 3 steps, and these steps should come in succession, ideally. So first we have the the school registrations. So that's a very simple form for you to fill in, so that we can have a contact person from your school that will receive all the communication from us. This can be just one person, and then you can add like a supporting staff member who will also be copied into this communication. Once you do that, you will receive the competition booklet with all the information, and you will be able then to register your teams. And teams, this is where either students or teachers can do the registration process.
Well, we'd encourage the students to do it, though. Make them take responsibility for their actions.
So that's the important thing. It's a student-led competition. So yeah. If you can, but sometimes we know that at the moment, some of the teams and some of the schools want to work together. So that's also a possibility this year. And that's sometimes when it's easier when the teacher does the registration, because then you need to also put in the email addresses for the team members. So that's something that's for everyone who's been involved in the competition previously, that's a new thing. With our recent experiences doing programs online, we've really kind of raised our game in terms of the safeguarding online, and that's why we like students also to register, so we can establish parental consent. This is something that's really important for us, but it also has a double benefit, because then we will be able to directly communicate any competition updates with the students directly. So that kind of takes the burden off you of being, this teacher who kind of has all those extra responsibilities of GSL. We
it's also
really don't want this to be an extra responsibility for you. We want you to just enable the students to do their magic.
I was going to say, it also gives us an opportunity, if your school does end up having COVID restrictions, that we can be in direct contact with your students. So that last year, obviously, halfway through our competition, we had global lockdown. So this way we can directly contact your students, even if you can't. So we have a question. We may have time to do that at the end. I'll see if that's possible. Thank you very much, Jakob. Do you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. So just here, the global goals competition teacher information pack. So you receive that at the point of registration.
You also receive a poster with a QR registration code that you can email to your students. And there are some other promotional materials for your students that you can share with them. Yeah.
Cool. When it comes to timeline, we don't have a dedicated registration for schools. This is done on purpose because schools around the world have very different calendars, and we don't want to stop anyone from joining the competition. However, if your students want to receive feedback from our mentors they need to submit their project plans at the 31st of January 2021. And that's the first really important key date.
Yeah.
Then the second phase of the competition is the project implementation. Students have time till April to do their initiatives, their social action projects. And then on 1st of May, we ask students to do their final submission. The final submission, it's a 2-page report and a 3-minute digital submission. I'm going to be showing you later the projects library, which is a perfect place for your students to find out how to, start their reports, what to include in their digital submission. Again, all this additional information is included in your information booklet. And finally, the winners will be announced at the GSL Festival, which will happen on the 17th of June. This year, we, because of the pandemic, we've decided to go bold and start this GSL Festival online. And we had close to 600 young people from 50 different countries tuning in. So
across 8 world regions. It was an epic 2-day online virtual extravaganza, shall we say. Just to add to the idea generation, we cannot encourage you enough to support your students to submit a project plan. That is the one point that they receive written feedback based on any questions or anything else they want to know. So that 31st of January date, it's a Word document that you'll be sent, and your teams will be sent, and your students will be sent, and it will be available online with structured questions, but they get written feedback from a team of professionals. This is a project planning template. So the more information they put in here, the better, because they get personalized feedback. This is the only point where they get personalized feedback for their project. I'm going to stress that again. This is dedicated to their project and their project only. So please encourage them to meet that deadline, because teams that do find it really, really useful. So thank you, Jakob.
Perfect. So again, just a summary of key dates that we just covered. So one date that wasn't covered on the previous slide is the 1st of October. So similar to this, but probably a little bit more fun. We're going to have the 1st of October.
This is great fun. What are you talking about?
We're going to have a global assembly for students. So please do encourage your students to tune in if they can. To that, there's again going to be 2 options, 8 a.m. in the UK or 4 p.m. UK time.
And do please keep the 17th of June in your diary. Last year we ran an entire stream of activity just for teachers, including a meet and greet for teachers. So it's an opportunity for you all to meet in Zoom rooms. So you actually get to connect with the teachers who are also supporting our competition from around the world, and to celebrate all the young people and their hard work throughout the year.
Perfect. In terms of competition numbers, there's quite a few things here. We're going to be sending those slides to you, so we just wanted to make sure that you get some of the numbers. I think what's really interesting here, it's despite the global lockdown, we still received 249 final submissions, which is absolutely incredible. That's close to 50% of all the project submissions that we received in the first phase of the program. So again, this is just to reiterate that if by any chance your team or your school is on lockdown, teams can still continue, or simply let us know what they managed to get up to before lockdown. So at least they can get a certificate of completion of the competition. And another interesting thing is not the big numbers. I think it's the small numbers. Sometimes teachers ask us, how much time is it for, or how many in a team is perfect. So if you see the average team size is actually 5 people, we say between 3 to 7. Why between 3 to 7? Because if it's less than 3, then I think they're missing that collaborative aspect of running a project. I think it's really important that there's a group of students, even though there might be one really strong leader, they should have a team around them. And over 7, usually if there is a delusion, there's
dynamics. There are interesting dynamics when you have more than 7 people, we find with young people.
Interesting dynamics, and sometimes things are just not getting done, or some people are just kind of there, but other people are doing the work. 7, it's also like a perfect number, but the average is actually 5. And if you look, it's only 35 hours per young person on average. So that means that, it could be just a few hours per year across many weeks. So it's really not that much extra effort. There's a question about the PowerPoint. It will be available. We will be sending it across, and we will add it to our resource page as well. And you can see the power of the young people. So 78 people can be impacted by just one person. I think that's a phenomenal stat. So yes, that's the competition in numbers. Just to give you a bit of the historic perspective, I think in the first year we had 50 projects from 17 countries. Is that right, Amy?
Yeah, that's right. We had 50 projects. Second year we had, do you remember?
800 projects.
It's scaled, but interestingly, for us, it's not so much about, like, we love the numbers, and of course, the more countries, the better, the more young people, the better. But what's been interesting is also the quality of projects has been improving, and we've seen projects come back year after year as well. So we had one project last year, it was the third year that they entered. I think it's important to say at this point, we don't expect students to go out and reinvent the wheel. If you're already running an initiative in schools, they can improve that and use that for their competition. It does not have to be something that's uniquely generated for this competition. They can use a project they're already running. They can assist with projects something else is running in school. We want to help amplify impact that's already taking place as well. So just keep that in mind, that they don't have to go out and create something. They can also support further and amplify something that's already in existence. Thanks, Jakob.
Perfect. Oh, there we go. 1 second. Right. So the competition, as you will probably see, or the ones who already taken part in the competition will definitely amplify our words that it's the competition is really not about winning. It's about students taking part in this and making real action in their local communities. So we do appreciate every single student who takes part. We will provide them with a named certificate for submission. And also, because we know how hard teachers work, we also want to, and we always been recognizing that. So we will be providing named certificates for supporting teachers. So all the people that will be mentioned in their final reports, the teachers will receive the certificates. And also, every person taking part in the competition has can get discounted places on our programs. So this year we're going to be running a few online programs. More about that later. So your students will be able to get discounted prices. The winners of the competition will receive a GSL program for the school up to the value of £10,000. So as always, the winner takes it all, but actually we are looking at much more than that, which is the commendation awards. Amy, would you like to say something about the commendation?
Yes. So obviously when we first designed the competition, we thought, oh, yeah, we'll have one winner. And then we received all these fabulous projects. So we thought, why have one winner when we can have 25? So every year we give out special commendation awards. So as you can see here, we've got the social media champions. We have our resilience award, our courage award, our collaboration award, our junior standout award, our learning award, our impact award, and our sustainability award. We do not limit how many teams can receive a commendation award. So that means that young people will be appreciated for all of their efforts within a category. We do limit how many commendation awards a team receives though. I think it's important to say at this point as well, increasingly we work with other incredible organizations, one of which is the world's largest lesson. And I'm pleased to say that we've had last year's winner and then another team this year we've been approached for them to be showcased as one of their game changers. And then they're making a video out of that competition team's project that will be showcased around the world through their channels. So I don't know if you've come across Project Everyone or World's Largest Lesson, but do check out their website. They have a lot of resources that will support you and your students learning about the global goals. But yeah, increasingly so we work with lots of organizations. So we're also helping to support the work they do, and they're helping to recognize our young people. So it actually wasn't the winning team this year that was chosen by World's Largest Lesson, interestingly enough. So yeah, winning isn't everything in this competition. It's taking part, and it's yeah, that's what it's all about for us, taking part and bringing about bigger change. Yeah, over to Jakob.
Perfect. And just you can see some of the smiley faces on
That's us.
That's us.
So we're, as you can probably see, we're quite a small team. So if it takes us a little, you know, we work as hard as we can. Yeah, there's 9 of us, and yeah, it's been amazing just how much impact you can have with such a small group of people. I think that's probably why we do what we do and encourage young people to go on, because I think 9 of us can do what we do, and 5 people can go out and bring about great change as well.
And I think that's also why you know we kind of stress those key dates and why it is important that students submit their project plans to us earlier than the deadline. So it gives everyone an opportunity to receive feedback in a timely fashion. So we work. So obviously this is us, the core team, but we have a small army of Global Goals heroes. So these are professionals who dedicate their time to write feedbacks for our incredible students.
So we've had everything from Amazon executives to, you know, we've worked with lots of corporates who support through our network, who basically dedicate their time to writing reviews for your students through their project feedback. So it's amazing. We've had over 98 heroes review projects for us in the last 2 years. And that's a network of professionals who are just passionate about young people and supporting them. I think that's another thing which is really, really unique about what we do, is that your young people's projects get seen by people well beyond us. Yeah.
And because we are a small team, we wouldn't be able to do that without, you know, a system behind this. So the systems are great, but they also sometimes are faulty. So if things, you know, if you're not getting the information you were expecting or something like that, just please let us know. Send us an email, and we will fix it for you as soon as possible. So that's about our team.
I think it's worth saying that we opened up the submission for the phase 1 project plan, and the deadline is the 31st of January. But we do take holiday over Christmas. So if you submit late into December, there will be a delay because we close our office. So we do encourage students to either submit earlier in December or sort of when we return in January. Last year we had 547 submissions for phase 1, just to give you a sense of the numbers. All of those received feedback in a timely fashion. But yes, as Jakob said, sometimes you just have to be patient, especially over that Christmas period. So just to keep that in mind, that there is usually a little longer delay over Christmas because we close the office.
And before Christmas, we want to get the feedback back within the first 14 working days. So that's our commitment to your students.
I'm just going to pause you for a second, Jakob, and answer this question because it's a very relevant one. Regarding the parent consent, is there a certain form available, or should we use the school's form? We manage everything, so it is all done through us online. So when the student registers, when the team registers and they provide their student email, they're sent an automated email to their personal account, which requests they get another form. In that form, they ask for a parent's email. Here it is. And then all of that consent is managed by us. This is what I mean. We try and make this process as pain-free for teachers as possible and as streamlined as easy for you. We do it all. So you don't need to worry about school forms. Yeah. You just need to make sure the young people know which teacher they need to put on their form and their own email address and a parent's email address. And is there a last date for team registration on that note? That's always a tricky one. We'd probably say the 31st of January would probably be the cutoff date for team registration, only because we feel like if you haven't registered by that point, you'll probably be at a disadvantage. And we do want to be able to support students. So there are various ways we support. We've put a lot on our social media to encourage and to also advise about how to do projects, how to measure impact. So I think that would probably be our cutoff date. If we get a huge number of teams, and that's one thing to say, we can only accept 10 teams per school. If you do wish to enter more than 10 teams, please do send us an email and we can discuss that. But as a general rule, we're limiting the number of teams per school to 10 this year. Yes. Sorry, there's one more.
So just quickly on those forms, school registration is the main one that you need to kind of think about as teachers. So as you can see, it's really a 5-minute form. There isn't much to complete here. And then in the team registration, that's where we ask for details of team leaders, the countries that are being supported, and then emails to the team members. So everyone who is included in this field will receive an email with the student registration. And that's going to be a pre-populated field as well for them, so that we make sure that it links correctly to the team and the school. So that's why this process works best if it's done kind of linearly, so one after another. Cool.
Teams are reminded. We also send reminder emails. So if the team has registered but they haven't completed the students, if the students registered but we haven't got parental consent, all of that is managed by us. So we nudge them to complete things. So you don't need to do any chasing. Just register your school and encourage your young people to sign up as teams.
Cool. Right. So we will have a Q&A section literally after, I think, 2 slides. So how best to support your competition teams? I think key thing, be positive about it. It's not like this extracurricular thing that they have to do to, it's something that students should enjoy. So yeah, just be positive about this. Use our projects library. I will quickly just show you how awesome it is.
Just on that note, we're passionate people and we encourage young people to pick their passion, because we find that projects last longer if they do something that they're passionate about. So if they're passionate about skateboarding, then encourage them to use their passion, because they're more likely to complete a project. We had one student who was so passionate about skateboarding, he managed to convince the council to give him £10,000 to build a skate park, which became a big benefit to the community, just because he loves skateboarding. So that's what we're talking about. They take their passions and help them make that impactful. So here is our incredible project library that Jakob just mentioned.
Yes.
This is on our website.
This is something, that we, recommend for you to share with your students, maybe even do it as part of, of your GSL meeting, and just ask the students just go and have a look at those incredible. So they select the global goal that they are interested in, like zero hunger, and then they can just browse the different initiatives that have been completed by students from different countries. So we've got the 10B Titans here from Malaysia. You can see the impact of their project, some gallery photos, then the digital submission. So when I mentioned around the final submission, we have this 3-minute digital submission. So those mini pages are exactly that. So you can watch the little video,
a very good day,
and learn really about the impact that they've done, and you can look at their written report as well. So we strongly encourage you to use the projects library as part of your support for the teams. What Amy mentioned before, it's, work with what's there. You probably have already like a service learning, branch at your school. There's probably something going on, some great things going on. So you can just tap into that, enter this into the competition, get some feedback from our mentors, and maybe just get it to the next level or improve it slightly. Whatever it is, I think it's going to be great anyways. Don't recreate the wheel. That's really important. Sometimes, and I've spoken to many students and many teachers around the world in the last few years, and sometimes you have, oh, we need to do something that no one else done. No, just go to the project library, see what's cool, and do it your way. And that's as simple as that. Usually in life, copying is it's frowned upon. In here, in social action, it's great. You can copy great ideas, improve them, and run with it. Another thing, which is also something that we've already mentioned, is the project plan. There is only one point when you can get feedback from us. So ensure that there's a comprehensive plan. It's not just a few sentences, that there's just a little bit more. So it's easier for our mentors to understand the core concept and to provide their expertise to that project. And finally, just remember it's a student-led project. We also sometimes see that in the submissions that maybe the teachers or the schools, sometimes they get
Very
a little bit
supportive.
that competitive edge and they get involved in the projects a little bit too much. And as much as we love you, it's not about you, it's about the young people. So that's some of our kind of top tips.
I just wanted
Amy,
to
do you want
add,
to add? Yeah.
yeah, add as well. We also encourage the teams or individuals to submit blogs. So we have also a wealth of knowledge sitting on our website, which are the blogs written by young people about their experiences, about challenges that they've had. So do encourage your young people to go on and read and learn from the students before them, because I'm sure if they're having a problem, someone else had the same problem last year. So we do encourage you to really, really, really use our website, because there is a huge amount of knowledge there to learn from. I have a question that we'll come to in just a moment. Thank you.
Yes, Amy. So the support in light of COVID, I think, and that's a bit of advice we've been sharing, and some teams took it on. So just remember to keep talking. Just because the school might be on lockdown doesn't mean that there isn't communication tools to keep the conversation, even if it's a conversation about how things, how frustrated the students are about about the fact that they cannot do the project, and don't be afraid to pivot. I think over the last few months, the whole world, and we certainly felt that you sometimes just have to do things differently or try new things. So we mentioned the GSL Festival, which was a massive pivot for us. And that actually led us to then do an incredible summer program for over 1,700 young people in the UK. So,
And that's a really big point, is that we just ran, with some funding that we received from the UK government, an online catalyst program for 1,700 young people who were all at home on their computers. And the impact of that program was absolutely phenomenal. Those students went out and they connected with 187 organizations, and they raised how much money?
over just 3 or 4 weeks, they raised close to over £16,000.
And they learned all about the things they're passionate about. They learned to talk about, we had a lot of Black Lives Matters poems. These young people learned to articulate social issues that they felt passionate about. And that's one of the biggest things that we encourage, is getting them to talk about the things they feel strongly about. So being online doesn't mean it's not, if anything, it can be more impactful. So yeah, that's just been our learning in the last few months.
Sharing your story. So again, from that summer program, one incredible story, case study of one of the participants who had a car accident. She's been suffering from PTSD. Her confidence was really low, and after this program, she started raising money for an organization about road safety. She started engaging with the community more, and she also wrote her victim statement, and her confidence is incredible. She was speaking at our graduation event last week, so it's an incredible story, and we know that your students have incredible stories in them, and through blogs, through podcasts, we want to unsurface those stories and really share them with the world. So there's plenty to do, even in lockdown. You can build your support base, you can use the social media to promote your initiatives, build partnerships. If you're at home, chances are that people that are in the companies that you're trying to reach, or local authorities, they might be slowing down because they don't have, because they're closed. This is the time to build partnerships. This is the time to book those meetings, have those conversations.
We had 43 guest speakers from around the world who spoke at our festival, and someone said, how did you secure so many speakers? And I said, I just asked. I was just bold, and I thought, you know what, you're probably at home, we're at home, let's inspire the next generation. So I think that's the thing, is just don't hold back, and just go big, go bold, and just ask. Yeah, it's been phenomenal. I was going to say that the graduation assembly from our Innovate program that took place last week will also be available on our website if you'd like to have a look at what impact a Catalyst program can have on young people. Thanks, Jakob.
Cool. And just to point out again, we brought in this student registration, and we will be able to be in direct contact with our team. So if the global situation will turn again to the right direction we don't want, we'll be able to contact them. We'll be able to send them those nuggets of inspiration and keep them on track. So this is something that we wanted to kind of build in this year as well, just to make sure students have that extra support. And you can also book an online catalyst for your school. So we've got years of experience of delivering programs, leadership programs, and working around the SDGs and social action. We are now skilled in doing that online, and we had
that was our pivot, the online catalyst. We're actually running one this November. I don't know if any of you here are from a COVIS school, but we'll be running the COVIS, the Council of British International's virtual leadership weekend in November, and there are still places available. So that's also worth keeping in mind, that if you want to take your school one step further, there is an opportunity for us to do a special catalyst just for your students, or even between schools, so we can also mix cohorts. So this summer we had some schools from Nigeria join our UK cohort, so we can do this across the world. The COVIS program in November is an international program for any COVIS school to join. We will be releasing some dates for some open catalysts in the new year. So just keep an eye on our website, and we'll also share that through our social media and the occasional email. So
thank you. And by booking the program, you're directly supporting the GSL movement. The competition, which is the biggest movement aspect of GSL, is completely free. So we run programs to support students, develop them, but also then develop the GSL movement and the competition every year. So that's also part of how we operate as an organization and as a movement.
And I think that's another thing worth saying is, if you're in an area where your school is in a position where they can support another local school with what you're doing with your project, we love to see those projects as well. So a lot of our students go out and they work with other schools. We've had projects here in the UK where they've opened up sports clubs. One private school an independent school opened up their sports clubs to the local state school, and they ran games like that way, which might not be at the moment possible with COVID restrictions, but it is worth thinking about how we can share resource and share knowledge and support each other, especially in these challenging times.
Yes, and please do extend the invitation to the competition to any of your networks of state-owned schools, because this is something that we sometimes don't have those connections in every country. So if you can pass on that message, then please do.
And if there's anything you want from us to support the sharing of the competition, press releases, we ended up in the Indian magazine without realizing, but is there any copy or anything you'd like support with, please do just contact us, our team, and we can share our resources with you, and we can also help build a campaign with you if that's something that would be of interest. Yeah.
And finally, we wanted just to mention about the GSL Fellowship, which is a global community of active citizens who share our vision. So this is something that takes the commitment of students to the next level. So once they are a fellow, they'll receive inspiration from us every week in a form of a Feel Good Friday newsletter, which has been really popular over the last year. So we want to invite all the students that take part in the competition to join the fellowship and kind of, keep in this whole movement stronger. That will be an opportunity for us to engage as well then with parents, and also track the progress of all of our alumni, which is really important as we grow and move forward. I'm sure we're going to have a Secretary General of the UN at some point as our GSL graduates. So we want to keep in touch with them. So the GSL Fellowship is the place to go. Brilliant. Now we can go into any questions. I'll get the Q&A up.
So we've got one here about, are there any specific guidelines that projects must meet? The marking criteria in terms of the judging criteria is part of the competition booklet that you receive at point of registration. There's also, so that in terms of that would be the kind of what your students are being marked upon. In terms of a checklist, like a project checklist, There's also, and in that booklet, kind of steps to doing a project, and links to where you can find different resources. I'll jump to the previous project question and then I'll go back to the age question. So can we find a list of previous projects? Yes. On our website, there is the project library, which Jakob took us through very briefly. I realize there's a lot of information this morning. Yeah. So yes, our projects library is where you will find all previous projects, projects that have submitted, for the final submission. If you want to see other information, please go to our blog pages where you'll be able to read directly from a young person's voice about their experience of doing their projects. And that might be at the point of inception, it might be during their project, it might be afterwards. We also have a podcast channel. So if you want to hear from some of our passionate young people and some of the experts that we work with, they're also featured on our podcast channel. And the last one.
We try to keep everything, available on the website. You can also see the commendation awards. So if your students are really keen on getting commendation awards of a certain sort, they can have a look at those final submissions to see, more or less what other students have been doing. You can also look at our judges from last year, finalists from previous years, and that's the project library. So and also try to keep all those resources available for you.
Do follow our hashtag, which is hashtag GSL Goals. So we also have a huge following on Instagram. So that would be something we'd really, really encourage your students to be involved with. We also post lots of information there. We've also featured last year, we did the 17 days of action. So we covered each one of the global goals in the build up to our festival. And you can watch the digital submissions there as well around each theme. How to conduct your project in the middle of the pandemic. First things first, have your students, I'd say the best thing probably to do is have your students sign up as a student after they've registered their teams. And then regular contact. So I think Jakob probably sees me about 7 times a day. So it's about finding a platform that the students feel comfortable communicating on. So if that's for them, it's WhatsApp, if it's Google Hangouts. But these young people, if even it's making each other TikTok videos, I'm not very adept with TikTok. There's, every time I get a year older, there's a new piece of technology I have to understand working with young people. So yeah, if you'd like to send us an email, we'd be happy to share with you some other ideas.
I think one thing I can add straight away as well, again, on our website, in the commendation there, last year we had the Pivot Award. So I think that would be a great place to see, because all the Pivot Awards are for, teams that actually done something because of COVID. They made a change to their project and the move online. So just an example of a project that was around, around mental health and stress in the schools in Hong Kong. And, they wanted to do the project within their school, do some questionnaires, some support groups, things like that. But then when COVID hit, they just moved those conversations online. So they made a big survey. And I think they actually managed to get to other schools as well in the area. So in a way, the project kind of expanded because of that. So it's just thinking slightly differently about those projects.
And as Jakob mentioned as well, campaigns can all be conducted online. So if they're passionate about an issue, they could start an online campaign, which is something they can manage completely online. And we've seen a lot of success with that recently as well. And a lot of activists are doing things online. So the other thing I'd encourage your students to do is go out and be inspired by people that they feel are doing the work they want to be doing, and start following those people on social media. Thank you very much, Maria. It was lovely to have you in the room, and we will share the assembly with you at the end. We won't keep you for much longer. We have one more question around a student turning 18 next month. We do normally have a limit on the age range due to the fact that part of the competition would be that we'd then invite students to apply for our World Summit, where we have an age restriction. This year, we will not be running the World Summit online. So I'm confident in saying that it would not be an issue if the student turns 18 within the competition period, but that would be normally an exception rather than a general rule. So we do like to keep our age range between 11 to 17. Are there any more questions?
Yes, I think there was a question about if
Oh,
Students have to register their teams before the webinar on the 1st of October. Absolutely not. You have time to register the teams. The webinars are more like an information session. So if your students need an extra kind of push of inspiration to sign up, then that's where we would like to speak to them directly to help you as well promote this opportunity within the school. So they don't have to have the teams ready by then.
And also just to say that I know we've put here, follow us, but also do connect with them. I don't know if many of your teachers are on LinkedIn, but we also do post on LinkedIn for our teachers audience. So if you want to try and find us on LinkedIn, please do connect with us. We share further opportunities. We also share opportunities for programs with our teachers as well. So please do find us on all our channels. We also have an online chat function, which is on our website. So you can also instant message. There is one point about messaging and emailing. We do not provide feedback or comment on projects on any of our platforms. There is one point for feedback, which is our process where you complete a project plan and submit that. So please, we will make that clear to your students next week, but we are unable to comment on their projects through our online chat. So as much as we'd love to tell them how well they're doing, we have a channel for that keeps the competition fair. So yeah, just keep that in mind. We have some students who are so passionate, they basically try and send you your project plan during an online chat. So just to keep that in mind, the online chat's there to answer kind of logistical questions rather than project specific questions, but we are available for support. So please do shout if you need it. You also have our social leaders email address for teachers. So yeah, do contact us. The team are around Monday to Friday. We don't work Saturday, Sunday in the UK. So just keep that in mind. There's usually a delay over the weekend when we can get back to you. Are there any further, oh, sorry, Jakob, it was on the slide. Are there any further questions before we close the webinar this morning? Oh, thank you very much, Gina. You having a good day too. Well, if there aren't any further questions, just to say thank you so much for joining us. And remember, think globally, act socially.
Start now.
Bye. Thank you very much, everyone. We're going to close the room now, yes?
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.